Where are you?
I'm in the JW.
So you're in town and ready to roll.
Yeah.
Look, there are Chris Tanev is going to have a bunch of decisions to make whenever the off season gets here, and I don't expect you to be lobbying or to play his agent. But can you just talk about the relationship that you two have formed and what he's meant to you on and off the ice this season?
Yeah. Chris has probably played the biggest role for me, on and off the ice. My first year, I think he's been, extremely important for the team. I think he's a leader in the locker room, and he's a guy that everyone likes. So that'd be a huge blow if we lost him. But I think that Jim and the coaching staff understand his value, and it's not my business, but I would think that they're gonna do the best they can to make a deal. And I know Tanny loves Vancouver and he loves the guys here, but he's been unbelievable with me, and maybe even more. He was so good with me on the ice, but even off the ice, he's been just as good, I think.
And as you get back into town and get ready to play, I mean, this is such a bizarre scenario to have this layoff in the middle of the season and then come back to, playoff hockey. I'm sure you have been sort of the focus of opponents at various levels throughout your career. And you've done so much in 1 year that, Minnesota would be crazy if they didn't game plan in some way for you. Are there things you can do mentally or physically to be prepared for special attention when time and space gets taken away at playoff time?
Yeah, 100%. I think that's, this time away from the games giving me a lot of time to reflect on what I can get better at, and, reflect on the future and, what that series may look like. And, so they're going to play hard. It's going to be do or die. So, they're going to probably, play pretty physical, and those are things that I'm just going to have to get used to. And I welcome that. I think it'll be, really fun, honestly.
Good. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Patrick Johnson has the next question.
Just wanted to follow up on that, Quinn. What are things that you have thought about you want to get better at in those reflections?
Well, I think just the biggest thing for me is using this time to get stronger. And I think, I've done a really good job at that. I feel as strong as I've ever been. So, I'm confident, I feel strong, and I feel, excited and ready to, come back here.
And, you obviously have a lot of downtime. You're trying to train, you're trying to kind of keep yourself loose. It is hard to ignore, I'm sure, what's going on in the U.S., both in terms of, Black Lives Matter and the broader COVID thing. How much have you been following, those two situations in the U.S.?
Yeah, I mean, we watch CNN. My parents watch CNN a lot in the house, so I was obviously, watching that a lot. And, on the first thing, coronavirus, we were very, determined, and we stayed inside and respectful to the law. And then, when everything happened with Black Lives Matter, I think, it was disgraceful what the officers, did in Minnesota. And I think that, I think it was important that, people did that and expressed their feelings.
Thanks, Quinn.
Thomas Drance has the next question.
When in the cohort quarantine that you're currently involved in, can you walk us through what the experience of returning to Vancouver, getting on the ice today with your teammates, and sort of being in that cohort quarantine situation has been like? I'd imagine it's pretty surreal. Yeah, I mean, everyone's going through this for the first time, so people don't really know what to expect. But, for me personally, it was really nice to see, the boys again. I think, everyone missed each other, and I think it was, it was a fun day today just to kind of see everyone. And, obviously, we had to follow, staying, pretty far away from each other. And even in the workout room, we're staying 6 feet apart, but just to see the guys, it was nice. And in terms of, is there anything that stuck out to you, whether it's from, a video education sort of seminar on training in these settings, or some of the regulations pertaining to what you can do and can't do at the moment in your cohort quarantine that stick out to you?
I think just in the hotel, we're supposed to stay pretty far from each other, and it is what it is. I think whatever the guidelines are, they're the guidelines, and we have to follow them. And we're all excited to be back, and we all want to be on the ice again and playing. So whatever that takes, we'll do.
And just one final one for me. Obviously, last week there was sort of some speculation or movement. It looked like Vancouver might have been selected to be a hub city. That didn't come to pass. How closely were you following that, and what sort of has been your reaction to this point with sort of the changing plans?
Yeah, I don't really follow that stuff too closely because at the end of the day, it's out of my control. And at the same time, I don't really care because, I'll just go to, to the place wherever I'm told, and I'll just follow directions. So that's, usually how my mindset is. And, if you tell me to go to Vancouver, you tell me to go to Vegas or wherever it could be, I'm just going to go.
Thanks, man. Welcome back.
Thanks.
We're going to go to Carol Schramm next.
Hi, Quinn. Thanks for taking the time to do this today. I wanted to ask you about something else that's out of your control, which is the results of the Calder Trophy voting that have been going on over the last couple of weeks. How closely have you followed the debate there, and have you heard some of the advocating that some of your teammates like Bo Horvat have been doing on media outlets, talking about how deserving they think you are of the Calder?
Yeah, I think that's another thing that's out of my control, and the season's over. So, it's amazing. When you're in the season, I'd be lying if I said I didn't think about it a lot. But now that the season's over, I haven't really thought about it because, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. And, for me, it was obviously a goal and something I wanted to do and accomplish. And if that happens, great. And if it doesn't, then great too. So, there's a lot of great rookies this year. And, if I do end up winning, then that is something I'll cherish, and it's a blessing. But if I don't, I can tip my cap.
Thank you.
We'll go to Josh Clipperton next.
Hey, Quinn, thanks for doing this. I'm just wondering, you guys are doing the cohort quarantine now, but if we go to phase 3, there's a good chance it won't be quarantined, and that's sort of viewed by some as sort of the soft spot. I know there's not a lot of cases out in Vancouver, but is going to be on the players to sort of self-police and be careful, especially because you guys won't be quarantined, won't be away from the general public, and just, as much as the pull of maybe going to the seawall or going to a restaurant might be there, that you just need to, stay as, as close to home as possible.
Yeah, I think at a certain point, we're going to have to, live our lives, and we're going to have to go to the restaurants and do these things. And, but, I think you can be calculated and smart and, staying away from people and doing the best you can, and wearing a mask and washing your hands or whatever that may be. So, I think, like you said, it's on the players. The players have to be responsible. And, I think we're going to try to do that. And I think it's probably, unfair to ask players not to go to restaurants or do things like that because, a guy like me, I don't really cook too much, and, I might be, cooked up in the hotel. So, but, I think on the other hand of that, we can be smart and stay away from people and do the best we can.
What are you expecting from the hockey in terms of the caliber of play, especially early with you guys have been off for so long? Guys are healthy, but, you still haven't played many games or any games recently.
I expect it to be very competitive and, very good hockey. I think, like you said, we haven't played, in a while, but, we're all professionals, and I think you can pick these things up pretty quickly. The first game or the first couple exhibition games might be, a little rocky, but I think after that it should be, really good and high-end hockey.
And the coaches have had 3 months to look at the opponent. Are you expecting a lot of wrinkles from your coaching staff, from opponents' coaching staffs? What can you really prepare when there's been so much time between when teams last played?
I don't know. I'm always a firm believer in the fact that we don't really need to worry about, another team. And, when you say, the coaches have had 3 months to prepare, I think, Travis or Coach Green is more focused on, our team as a whole. And I think he believes that if our team plays as good as we can, then it really doesn't matter what the other team's doing. But I think as we get closer, we'll, pay more attention on Minnesota. But, this is, our first couple of days here, so we haven't really touched on that yet.
Great. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Next, we're going to go to Jay Janauer with Global TV.
Quinn, welcome back to town. How confident are you that we will see you guys back on the ice, because you still have a big vote ahead of you guys as players? Have you actively discussed it amongst yourselves in regards to the vote, and if you guys are leaning one way or another? Obviously you want to play, but I'm not sure everyone's of the same opinion.
Yeah, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I don't even know what vote you're talking about. So, as you know, all I know is that the Vancouver Canucks are here and we're excited and we're ready to play, and that's all I can speak on.
Okay. You guys played 69 games when the season was postponed. You played in all but one of them, Quinn. Where were you at 68 games in, as far as physically and mentally, and as far as getting the break? And I know it's been longer than probably all of us wanted. Recharged, chomping at the bit?
Yeah, I think you could say that. Definitely recharged and chomping at the bit. And I think, maybe the 4 months here is a blessing in disguise for me, I think, because, I feel really strong now. I think that I can perform better in the playoffs now than I would have 3.5 months ago. So, but, I remember at the time I felt, it was a long season, but at the end of the day, I could see the light at the end of the tunnel, and I was excited to be able to fight for a chance to play in the playoffs. So I think, if anything, you hit kind of a lull right before that, and then once you can kind of see that you're getting to the end, then I think you gear it back up again.
Thanks, Quinn.
Quinn, I know I saw during this downtime, the three Hughes brothers on rollerblades. Can you just detail a little bit about what you did to, primary workouts to stay in shape, and how did you sort of scratch your competitive itch? You're a professional athlete, you're a gamer. We know that about you, you get into games, obviously, and not, and maybe video games too. But when I said a gamer, what do you do to sort of just keep that competitive edge that you've got?
Yeah, I think, I'm more competitive at home than I would be here. Honestly, I think, if it was ping pong or basketball or, anything really, we were really competitive. We did a lot of basketball. We'd play basketball for 2 or 3 hours a day, and then we'd work out. And towards the end, we could skate too. So, once you work out and skate, it's already like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. So that kind of kills the day for you. And then, our pool was in too. So we were doing a lot of swimming. And, honestly, I had a lot of fun at home with those guys because we don't spend a lot of time together during the year. And, it was pretty rowdy at the house. And we had a lot of fun. And it was a good time.
Great. Thanks.
We'll go back to Josh Clipperton.
Hey, Quinn, I'm just wondering if you followed the draft lottery the other night. It was pretty crazy. As a guy who's gone through that process, fans on teams are saying that, it's not such a big deal if we lose in the qualifying round now, but just what was your takeaway from the whole experience, or just watching that?
Yeah, we had a lot of fun watching that. It's definitely very exciting. And I remember, Jack being in that situation last year and watching that and being real nervous for him. So I think we all just watched and wanted to see where, maybe Lafreniere would end up. And obviously didn't get to see that. But I think it's, crazy how, some of these teams that are in the playoff rounds are, they're all pretty much high-end teams, and they're going to get the best player in the draft. So it's a little crazy to me.
And just about Jack, there's a chance that he might not play a game for 9 months with the NHL doesn't come back till December, January. Just those 7 teams, and those players on those teams, one of them is your brother. What you feel for those guys? They're just going to have to sit around for this long, possibly?
I think this is maybe the best thing that could ever happen to my brother, if I'm being completely honest. I think that, he's an unbelievable player, and the only thing that was holding him back was how young he was, and just, an 18-year-old kid, you're just not as strong. Like, I think there's a huge difference between 18 and 20. There's still a lot of developing to do. And so I think that, he's been really working out and getting stronger, and I can already see in his body's 3 or 4 pounds more of muscle mass. So I think when you see him again in 7 months or whatever it will be, he's going to be a different player and different person. So I think, it's a really good opportunity for him to, use his time and get stronger. And I think he's doing that.
Great. Thanks again, Quinn.
Yeah.
Pete Jensen from NHL.com is next, and we'll follow it up with one last question from Patrick Johnson.
Hey, Quinn, thanks for doing this. I saw a crazy stat that so obviously you led all rookie skaters, including forwards, in points this season. Only two other defensemen in the modern NHL era, Bobby Orr and Brian Leach, have done that. Did you expect to have this level of success that stacks up with some of the best rookie defensemen in NHL history, really?
When you say those two names, it sounds a little bit crazy. So no, I wouldn't expect to hear that. But at the same time, I expected myself to have a really good season. I thought I was capable of doing that. Obviously, you don't know, but after playing those 5 games, 2 years ago, I had 3 assists, and I thought I played good, but really not that great. So I thought I played good, but I knew I had another level. And, when I had that success in those 5 games, I really thought that I could, have a tremendous year.
Nice. Thank you.
Yeah.
Patrick?
Yeah, hey Quinn, sorry, just one more question. I wanted to sort of just quickly revisit the question of you being in the cohort quarantine. Are you worried at all, or is there anything you're worried about in terms of having to like establish a new routine? You guys are so used to sort of having, being in your apartment, knowing where you're going to go for breakfast or whatever. It's all a little bit different here, or is this just going to feel like a really long road trip?
That's a good question. I can't really tell you because I'm 2 days in. So, I think maybe, by day 20, it might feel like a really long road trip. But, at the end of the day, it is what it is. And I want to play hockey and finish out the season. This is what it's going to look like. And, things aren't going to be perfect, but it is what it is. So kind of wrap my head around that.
Thanks, Quinn. Good luck with that.
Yeah, thanks.